throwing fists. So I think he'll be back this year to fight Khabib.
Who do you think would win that?
I don't know, man. It's hard to be confident, and he's the most confident guy on planet Earth. So I don't know. I don't know how he would stop Khabib from taking him down and eventually getting him to where he wants to fight. I would probably see Khabib winning, but his left hand is phenomenal, and you cannot take anything away from that thing.
Okay, last thing. Khabib Conor, who wins?
It's going to be a tough fight for both people. There's a lot of pressure for one guy, and then I mean, Khabib's supposed to win because a guy like Conor's new. It takes a long time to develop a formula to deal with somebody like George St. Pierre or Khabib. Yeah, there's a certain formula you have to use. You can't just lay on your back. You gotta turn over.
You can't just box him.
But you gotta know how to deal with,
About Khabib and Conor.
Man, I think Conor would get him. I think Khabib runs in recklessly, and I think Conor would put one on his chin and put him out cold.
Really?
Wow. Yeah.
I really think that, yeah, honestly.
If I have to bet, if I have to bet,
have to put the house on it.
if I have to put my house on it,
One of them.
the biggest one. if I have to put my house on it, I would have to choose Khabib over Conor. Khabib never lost. He never lost. And Conor have lost before. He have lost on the ground. He have a few losses, and he lost on the ground, where Khabib is good. That's where Khabib is the most competent as. However, Khabib sometimes is a slow starter, and he get punched a lot.
Michael Johnson.
Yes, he didn't look good in the beginning of the fight, and he's hard sometimes to close distance. You have a problem to close the distance, but once he got you in the clinch, he's very good. So I believe the odds goes on Khabib's favor, like maybe 60-40. I believe Khabib has more chance to win that fight than Conor. Conor has one way to win the fight. It will be if you catch him on the way in, standing up. Khabib, I think, has more chance to win. He can win by submission on the ground. He can win by ground and pound. If he goes to decision, the chances are very likely that is Khabib that's gonna win. I see more ways to win from Khabib than I see from Conor.
Okay. What's your opinion on that fight? When you first heard it, where are we at on that?
When I heard it a while ago and didn't think it was going to happen, my money was on Khabib.
Yeah.
After Khabib's last performance against Al, I know Al's a good guy, a good fighter as well too.
Amazing fighter.
I just don't think his stand-up's there.
No,
I just don't.
I agree.
I feel like Conor's just got that left hand. He's fast. He's going to be able to use his angles, his crazy kicks,
his footwork. And
I've always underestimated the guy. And then
Conor,
yeah. Like Eddie Alvarez. Eddie Alvarez is going to run through.
I know.
Him.
I thought it was a terrible matchup for him.
Jose Aldo's going to beat him.
I know. I look at I did the exact same thing before Khabib fought Al.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, I do not want to see Conor fight Khabib.
Yeah.
This is gonna be a terrible matchup for him. And I watched that Al fight. I'm like, oh shit, he's human.
Khabib's slow, man.
For me, the biggest red flag was transitions from striking to grappling.
He shot without setting anything up.
And far away, I'm like, oh shit. Well, Al's a phenomenal fighter, but Conor's movement, is second to none. So he's not going to be there, and that leaves you open to whatever he wants to do with those angles. Mm-hmm. So it's a good fight.
When I look at that fight, I think Khabib kicks his ass. I've always thought Khabib would kick his ass. I always thought Khabib would just go take him down and beat him up. I'm then confronted with the evidence that Chad Mendes also took him down but failed to beat him up. I'm also confronted with the evidence that I thought Jose Aldo would go out there and expose Conor and beat him up. I'm confronted with the fact that I thought Eddie Alvarez was going to go out there and beat him up. Well, when you look at Conor, you are left with the question, just how good is he, right? I do agree when you look at it. Yeah, it looks like Khabib can keep up with his conditioning. Khabib can pressure him. Khabib can take him down, keep him there, beat him up. Because we've seen Khabib do those things to so many other great guys. But we've seen Chad Mendes do it as well, and Chad Mendes had a very, very hard time keeping Conor down, and I can't tell you why. Some of those guys are slippery down there. Some of those guys just know how to move their hips. Some of those guys know how to turn and adjust and scramble and get back to their feet. And And I'm not sure we know the answer to the question of how good is Conor. I'll tell you right now, I think he's in over his head.
I think if Khabib does not correct the mistake of sitting back with his chin back and going to the side, Conor's going to put his lights out with that left hand pretty bad, pretty quickly. But Conor McGregor on his back, I don't feel like he has look from the past, looking at everything, I don't feel like he has a strong spirit for fighting on the ground. So some guys have a real strong spirit. They can stand up all day for 5-10 rounds as long as they're standing up. But when it goes to the ground, their spirit weakens. So I don't think Conor has a strong enough spirit to be able to withstand Khabib's ground attack over and over and over and over. So I'd have to give the edge to Khabib.
What's his record? 25-0?
26 now.
26-0.
26-0.
That's amazing.
And he's barely tested.
Yeah.
He barely gets tested.
Yeah, that's amazing.
You see one little flaw in him, you get all excited.
Yeah.
Because like, ooh, look, he's keeping his chin up.
Who do you think win that fight?
What's that?
Who do you think win that fight?
It's a good question. The question is, can Conor catch him? Can Conor catch him while he's coming in?
Yeah.
And if Conor can catch him, look, Conor can knock anybody out.
Yeah.
I mean, look, you see what he did to Eddie Alvarez. You see what he did to Aldo. Nobody had ever done that to Aldo before.
That's the best strikers in the division.
Yeah. And what Conor has is incredible precision and the ability
he's fast. He's so fast.
So fast.
His speed, his angles, he moves, create an angle, and he just counter the shit out of the guys. And yeah, that's all he needs.
He also moves unusual. He moves almost like a karate guy.
Yeah, he does.
You know,
he does.
like wide stance, but then knocks you out like a real pro boxer. Like
the only thing I'm doubting on Conor. Yeah, you know, he's the best striker and all of that, but does he have the conditioning for Khabib?
That's a good question.
Khabib, he just keeps going and
different animal.
Yeah,
and it's also the wrestling.
Yeah,
like Khabib's wrestling is not just a level above everybody else, but multiple levels.
Yeah,
like he just.
I heard like heavy guys. I'm talking about heavyweights talking about Khabib's pressure on the ground being on top.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, taking that side belt, that seat belt around, taking his hands, moving that leg up. You know, just neutrals the guy totally. So,
Luke Rockhold said he never loses a round in training.
Oh, he said?
He said he doesn't lose a round.
Yeah, Khabib.
Khabib doesn't lose a round. He just smashes everybody.
That's insane, man.
Everybody who wrestles with him are like, fuck, here we go. Time to go through the grinder. It's like
I think odds are in Conor's favor because it starts standing every round, and unless Khabib can take him down over and over and over again, right off the bat, I think the power is going to be a little much.
Wow, so you got Conor in this. You think his stand-up is going to...
I mean, I could be on the fence on this one because Khabib could take him down 100 times too.
Just hold him down.
Yeah, but the Mystic Mac has that little. He beat some good Chad Mendez, Jose Aldo. Like those guys don't get knocked out often.
Eddie Alvarez,
Eddie Alvarez. Yeah, a lot of tough guys.
So if you're a betting man, you're going with Conor.
I think so.
Wow.
I just don't see him beating Tony Ferguson.
You see him beating Khabib?
I see him beating Khabib a lot easier than Tony.
Wow, I disagree.
You know, a lot of people say that. A lot of people are high on Khabib. I don't know, man. I just...
You've been calling Khabib out since
I've been calling Khabib out for years, bro. Years, bro. Khabib's got a lot of holes in his game. You know, his footwork's terrible. His striking is terrible.
But his grappling is...
It's brutal.
It's tough.
But you just have to keep moving. You have to keep moving. You gotta not let him settle. I think that's what Tony's gonna do. I think Conor would sleep him. I think he would sleep Khabib.
Yeah,
he sleeps Khabib. He stands a much better chance versus Khabib than Tony. It seems when Khabib gets hit, he doesn't really expect it. You know, he's just trying to push forward. Those are the punches I think that sting you a lot more. You see, Khabib will stop in his tracks because he's coming straight forward. And against somebody with a left hand like that, I don't know.
It's gonna be a good fight. I think it's great for the sport. I think it's gonna probably gonna break the record. You know what I mean? As far as the gate. So
what are your thoughts on that fight?
You know, to be honest, I think Khabib is just such a machine. It's very difficult for anybody to stop him from applying that pressure on him. But Conor McGregor's been known to be stoic, be really relaxed.
Right.
And as we saw, Jose Aldo came in a little too happy with that face up, that crack. So if anybody can sneak a shot in, I think Conor's precise enough to do so.
Chad Mendez gave Conor problems on the ground, and Chad Mendez is no Khabib.
Yeah.
You know, so that's one thing I would look back. The other thing I would point out is that, for me, I believe in guys being active. Like, Conor has not – he's fought one MMA match in the last 2 years. Yeah. One. Khabib has been rolling over people. He's been making the weight consistently. He's been doing the right things. He's looked good reasonably. He hadn't been finishing anybody, but he's been winning.
Yeah, you're right. I don't know. I think Conor's a live dog in this. I think Khabib comes at him kind of square. You know, Khabib kind of has that same rhythm, that same style. He keeps pushing forward, and he's consistent. He's tough, but Conor got that sleeper though.
Sometimes Conor had that sleeper with Chad Mendes though, and Chad Mendes is a lot. His reach is not as long as Khabib, and he's definitely not as aggressive with the takedown, and not as good at ground and pound once you get on top. Well, so I think it's an even fight, to be honest.
The other thing I would point out is that the first 2 minutes of the Khabib-Michael Johnson fight, Michael Johnson was touching him with left hands. Touching him up. I feel like if Conor touches Khabib with those same left hands that Michael Johnson did,
a little bit more stank on it.
That fight might be over.
Sticks and move and keep touching him. That, from what I've seen from that Michael Johnson fight, his chin's not. It's not that great.
Well,
you know, his stand-up's not. It's not something where you look at it and it goes, "Oh, it's too amazing."
His
where
stand-up works.
You can't mess with him on the feet.
Yeah.
The only thing he's got on everyone is that he knows how to take you to the cage, put that pressure on you, and then work that single leg, take you down, grind you out, get your arms tired in the first round. Then you stand up, and then once your arms are pumped out, he does that for the rest of the rounds, and just pretty much scores a decision. But
so you're calling him out. You guys heard that. He wants to fight Khabib next.
I want to fight Khabib. Yeah, I don't.
like
I'm not the lightweight.
I like
Steve. You gotta get in line.
That's why I like T. I do want to fight.
Listen, I got nothing.
Actually, I do.
I have no business in the lightweight division, you know, nor do I really want to go up there. I want to rule the 45 division, but if there's one guy that I look at as stylistic-wise, that's the guy I want to fight.
There it is.
As simple as that. You know what I'm saying?
Look,
I got to
hate
move
you
up
for
a weight class to fight the guy.
Yeah, look, you can't hate on that.
Yeah, I go back to Chad Mendes, right? And Chad didn't have only 12 days to train or something, and he put him on his back immediately, pretty much. And he had a problem on his back. Khabib is a guy who's not going to run out of gas. He had a full training camp, and he's going to be on him. Now, don't get me wrong, and I mean, Khabib's never been knocked out, nothing, but Conor can hit. He can really hit. And if he really uses footwork and he can land a shot and hope to capitalize on that, but I think once it goes to the ground, a guy like Khabib, it's just very hard to get off of you. Now, I don't know what he's been doing. He might have been wrestling even throughout his boxing camp that he had with Mayweather the match. I don't know, but he knows it's his Achilles heel. So he needs to work on that. And I had the same thing. I was pretty much the same as Conor. I was a great striker, but, I sucked at takedown defense. So, I don't know. It's a hard one. It's a puncher's chance. He uses a lot of footwork, and he can tag him, and he can actually knock him out, stop him. Yeah, it will. Then Conor can do it, but can he knock him out? That's the question. Otherwise, it's going to be one of those fights that it's going to be grueling. It's going to be constantly on him. If you face a really good striker, there's nothing worse to fight him constantly pushing forward. Now you're going to need a lot of stamina for that. But then again, you're wearing your opponent out as well. So it's like the Cormier fights and Cain Velasquez, like that. The best strikers have difficulty with that because you can't put your feet down, and all the power comes from the foot. If I can't push off of my back foot, I can't put my body weight in the punch. Now, it doesn't mean that I can still knock him out. Of course I can. There's guys that get punched out with a punch like that. I'm not saying that. But, in order to get a big guy and a strong guy, yeah, you want to have your foot on the floor, or 2 feet on the floor with hooks and uppercuts, and at least your back foot on the floor once you start throwing straight punches. And if you can't do that, well, it takes a lot of power away. So if Khabib is probably going to do this the whole time, and he's going to have to work angles, but it's 25 minutes fight time. It's a long time to avoid a takedown.